Hello everyone, we're back with the Royals franchise. In today's episode, we're going to be getting through the draft and the trade deadline, and actually, we're going to start today's episode by making a trade. And that trade is going to be more of a salary dump. It's not that Trevor Rosenthal has been awful at the AAA level, but I just don't really see him having a path to make our big league club again, so we're going to be sending him away to the Washington Nationals, and in return we're going to get back George Martin, a 50 overall relief pitcher who has been absolutely awful all year long at the AA level. So you could tell, definitely a salary dump trade, but it is better than just releasing him. Speaking of releasing, we are going to be releasing relief pitcher Brett Martin, who has had his potential go down and has been just not that great. I would option him down to AAA, but he was a Rule 5 draft pick, so we have to release him, and it is to open up a roster spot for Adbert Alzolay, who has been just shoving at the AAA level. We are also going to be optioning down a couple of position players. The first one is Nick Madrigal, who has had a lot of chances to get things going, and he just unfortunately has not been able to do that. The guy that we are going to call up to fill his spot is going to be Ezekiel Duran. He had a very good spring training and has been pretty solid at AAA. Hopefully he is able to do that as well at the big league level. And the last guy we're going to option down in this at the beginning of this episode is going to be Drew Waters, another guy that's had a lot of chances but just really hasn't done that much with him. So he is going to go down to AAA, and up comes Albert Almora Jr., who has a near 350 on base percentage and also just offers more defense and should be a better player to have on our bench at the big league level. Let's go ahead and jump right into the MLB draft, where we have the #1 overall pick and are trying to decide between a couple of 18-year-old shortstops. Comparing the two, Alec Franco has a bit higher of potential, but not by much. He is going to offer a lot more contact and a lot more vision and discipline, and he is also a switch hitter. The other option is Eric Snyder. He is a bit lower of potential, but it's only 1 point. He has a higher overall, at least he should at the start. He is going to offer you more power, better defense, and better speed. So, to me, I think this is a pretty easy decision on who we're going to be taking with the #1 overall pick in the 2024 MLB draft, and that is shortstop Eric Snyder. He looks like the clear-cut winner of the two, but I mean, I guess we'll see after the draft or later in the episode, because you gotta wait to check out the ratings, so we'll find out at the end of the episode. Alec Franco ends up going with the #5 overall pick to the Seattle Mariners, and Thomas Stroud, a guy I was hoping to fall to the second round, he ends up going at pick 8 to the rival Detroit Tigers. We do have a pick in the competitive balance round A at pick 35, and with this pick we are going to select center fielder Michael Hernandez, who has maybe not the highest ceiling. It still has a chance to be well above average, but it probably will not be. I do like his future ratings, though. I think he could be a very solid outfielder for us, so we went ahead and picked him at pick 35. And we do have a pick right away in the second round at pick 40, and with this one we are going to select starting pitcher Thomas Kurtz, another 21-year-old. He may not have the highest upside when it comes to strikeouts, but his potential range is well above average no matter how you look at it, and he does only throw 3 pitches, so maybe not the best strikeout pitcher, but I think he could be a solid rotation piece to have on a contending team. Now in the third round we are back on the clock at pick 78, and with this one, we are going to select a relief pitcher in Gene Folk. He is the #3 player on our draft board. I do like his ratings, but nothing really stands out as elite. His potential does have a high upside all the way up to 96, but it also could be just an 81. I am willing to take a chance on him though in the third round, so we end up picking him there. Now in the fourth round at pick 108, we are going to be taking another chance, this time on Romeo Petty, who is injured right now, and it doesn't look like necessarily his ratings have the highest ceiling, but he is the #56 player on our draft board, and I think we've been playing it pretty safe for the most part, taking the safe picks, so we'll take a chance on him in the fourth round. In the fifth round, we are going to go back to making a safe pick, in my opinion, and that is going to be to take Ralph Lopez. He is draft rank 108. We are getting him at pick 138. He offers good contact, good fielding, and some pretty good speed, and the potential range is not too bad, especially for somebody who we are taking in the fifth round at pick 138. And now into the 6th round, where we're going to be making our last selection at pick 168. And it is going to be another relief pitcher, this time in Pablo Rosado, who is just 18 years old. He is draft rank 105 on our draft board, and we are able to get him all the way at pick 168. He may not have any elite ratings, and he does need to really work on his pitching ratings, but I think he could definitely be a solid bullpen option in the long run. So that is going to be all for the draft. We're going to go ahead and get all these guys signed. I don't see any problems with us getting them signed. All their bonuses are pretty reasonable, so we'll check them out at the end of the episode. For now, let's move on and start working our way towards the All-Star break, or through the All-Star break and towards the trade deadline. We do have 2 All-Stars at the big league level, and that would be catcher Salvador Perez. Not really a surprise here. He has had 20 home runs and has had a pretty solid first half. And the other All-Star, it may be a surprise. It is Bobby Witt Jr. Ever since we moved him out of the leadoff spot, he has really taken off and has a near 770 OPS when it was pretty bad at the start of the year. I also do want to mention that Michael Massey was the lone All-Star representative for the A's, so we did trade away an All-Star this last offseason. Though, I mean, Michael Massey has been pretty terrible. He did end up making the All-Star team. Now to check out the All-Stars and Futures players we had at the minor league levels. Carlos Feliz ended up making the Futures team and was the starting first baseman there. He has had a very good first half. I would still like to see him have a potential boost and would like to see him develop a bit more power. Bob Clausen, he also made the Futures team and the AAA All-Star team. He had an amazing first half. Hopefully he has a great second half, and he's going to be on the big league club before we know it. Daryl Ciccone, he did not make the Futures team, but he did make the AA All-Star team. Has a near 1 whip, 2.44 ERA. He's not really striking out guys, but he's been really good. Dallas Davis, he has hit a lot of home runs, but that's really about it. I would like to see him walk a bit more and not be as reliant on the home run ball. Travis Swaggerty was the last AA All-Star that we had that I wanted to talk about, and he's actually going to be getting the call up to AAA. The 26-year-old has been just producing down at AA, so why not give him a chance to play at the AAA level? We are now through the All-Star break and are heading towards the trade deadline, and are going to be making a trade right now, trading for Rodolfo Castro, a second baseman on the Pirates who absolutely destroys left-handed pitching, and he could be a good platoon option for us at second base. And in this deal, we're going to be sending away a couple of starting pitchers. The first one is Daniel Lynch, who I don't really see having any sort of role for us at the big league level anymore. He's more of a 4A player in my opinion, but I think he's actually going to be in the rotation for the Pirates. And we're also going to be giving him Beck Way, another 4A type pitcher who we're going to be sending to the Pirates. We'll see if those two work out there. Samad Taylor is going to be optioned down to AAA to open up a spot for Rodolfo Castro on the big league roster. And that is not the only trade we're going to be making. We have received a trade from the Angels, and it is actually a good one. We're going to be sending away Nate Eaton, who has not really hit for us at the big league level, and he's not really hitting for us at the AAA level. He is a solid super utility option that could play a lot of different positions, so I could see why the Angels would want him. And we're going to be getting back in this deal to Sean Knowles, a center fielder who could also play the 2 corner outfield spots. He has B potential. He's a switch hitter. He's not really hitting at AA, but we'll see if he can turn things around for us at the AA level. And we have now advanced along to closer to the trade deadline, and unfortunately things have not gone our way. We are now 5 games back in the division and are in 4th place in the division. And when it comes to the wild card race, we are closer to being in last place in the AL than we are to holding a spot in the wild card. We will end up being sellers at the trade deadline. We're going to start by trading away Jock Peterson, who he did just sign to a multi-year contract. However, I feel like it's in both parties' best interest to just kind of move on from this deal because it really hasn't worked out for either side. So we're going to be sending him to a more hitter-friendly ballpark in Philadelphia where he could play for the Phillies and replace Kyle Schwarber, who ended up leaving them in free agency. And in return, we're going to get back Rafael Marchand, a switch-hitting 25-year-old catcher who is only a 59 overall, but he's got B potential and has hit really well at AA. So when he is back from his injury, we will call him up to AAA and see how he does there. In our next trade, we're going to be sending away Kenta Maeda, who has been in our bullpen as a long relief pitcher, but I feel like he has earned a chance at this point in his career to go to a team that is really contending, and that is going to be in Milwaukee. He's going to be heading to the Brewers, and he will be their number 5 starter. And in this deal, we're not getting back anything special. We're just going to get back Greg Edwards, a 60 overall, 21-year-old starting pitcher who has not been very good at AA. We'll see if he can turn things around with us. and maybe eventually be a part of our bullpen or maybe even a part of our rotation. But for now, I think he's just going to be a long reliever in the minor leagues. And in our biggest trade at the trade deadline, we're going to be trading Josh Domitz, a relief pitcher who is 30 years old and has been pretty dominant for us this season. And I mean, he does have another year of team control, so we're going to get back a decent piece for him. And we're also going to be trading away Nicky Lopez, who has not been able to ever return to his 2021 form. And he's going to be heading, along with Josh Domitz and Zach Collins, to the Los Angeles Dodgers. And in return, we're going to get back Michael Busch, a second baseman who can also play a bit of corner outfield and first base. He is going to be a great option to platoon with Rodolfo Castro at second base. Michael Busch will start against right-handed pitching, and Rodolfo Castro will start against left-handed pitching, and they should be a nice combo there to play at second base. And the other piece that we're going to be getting back in this deal is relief pitcher Justin Brule. I believe that's how you say it, but if I'm wrong, correct me down in the comments down below. He's got a sub-1 whip at AA. We will call him up to AAA and see how he does there. So that is going to be our biggest deal that we make at the trade deadline, and I believe that is going to be the last trade that we do make in today's episode and the last of this season. Now it's time to make some call-ups to fill out the roster. The first call-up that we're going to be making is Dylan Coleman. He has earned another chance to be a part of our bullpen. Hopefully he is able to pitch like he does at AAA and unlike he has for us the last couple of years at the big league level. Travis Swaggerty, he is going to get a quick call up from AAA up to the big leagues. We'll see how he does as an option to potentially be a starting corner outfielder for us. Frank Kroger is also going to be called up to make his big league debut. He has been pitching really well at AAA after having a great year all year at AA last year, and he is actually going to be called up to be placed in the rotation. And going to the bullpen is going to be the knuckleball starting pitcher, Dan Harrington. He's got a close to 5 ERA, so I think it makes the most sense to send him to the bullpen. Let's go ahead and jump into some action on the field, taking on the Pirates and the former Royal Daniel Lynch, who's had a very solid start to his Pirates career. And we actually have a couple of former Pirates in the lineup in Rodolfo Castro, Connor Joe, and Travis Swaggerty. Here in the top of the second inning, Salvador Perez up against his old teammate, and he's going to smash one to left center field off of him, and he is going to end up leaving the yard for a solo home run, his 25th home run of the year, and it's going to make this a 1-0 lead for Frank Kroger and the Royals. Frank Kroger making his major league debut at the age of 21, had a very good year last year at AA and a solid year at AAA this year. He'll get a strikeout here in the bottom of the second inning for his first major league strikeout. Still in the second inning, facing the bottom third of the order, this ball will be hit to right field and leaped on and missed by Seth Beer. He's going to fire it to the cutoff man, Rodolfo Castro, who's going to relay it to the plate in time, and they'll cut the runner down and keep this a 1-0 lead for the Royals. Top three, Travis Swaggerty hitting in the 9 spot, and he'll flip one over the leaping glove of O'Neal Cruz. The giant shortstop is unable to make the play. Matt Chapman is going to ground one under the glove of Brian Hayes, and Travis Swaggerty, who stole second base, is going to come all the way around to score. It'll be an RBI single from Matt Chapman, making this a 2-0 lead. Henry Davis, the number 9 hitter for the Pirates, is going to hit one to right field, and it's going to curl into the corner. And Seth Beer is going to pick it up and fire it in, but it's going to be a 1-out double for Henry Davis. Brian Hayes with a runner in scoring position is going to flip one to right field, and it falls in front of Seth Beer, and that's going to end up being an RBI single, making this a 2-1 ball game. 2 away for Brian Reynolds, and he hits one over the glove of Matt Chapman, who couldn't quite make the play, and it's going to be another RBI single for the Pirates, and just like that, we are going to be all tied up at 2 in the third inning. Top 4, Connor Joe with a chance to make his old team pay, and he's going to do just that, hitting one of the left center gap. It's going to one-hop into the wall, and it's going to be a stand-up double for Connor Joe, and he is going to drive in a couple of runs and give the Royals the lead again, now 4-2 here in the middle innings. Bottom 4, Jared Triolo up at the plate. He had a big hit earlier in the game, and this time he's going to say screw the double. He'll hit a 2-run shot to left field, and we are going to be all tied up again, now at 4. Top 6, Salvador Perez had a home run earlier in the game. This is not going to be a home run, but it should be extra bases. It's going to get into the corner. Perez is going to head for second, and the throw is going to be a bit offline. It'll be a leadoff double for Salvador Perez. Connor Joe with Perez at third base. It's one on a line to right field. It is at the warning track, and it's going to be caught, but it is going to be plenty deep enough to be a sac fly for Connor Joe, driving in Perez to give the Royals a 5-4 lead. Curtis Cartwright in the bottom of the sixth off of Dylan Coleman is going to hit one to right field, and it leaves the yard in a hurry. A solo shot for the Pirates, and we're tied up again. All tied at 5 in the top of the 7th. Bobby Witt Jr. down the first baseline is going to keep it fair, and he is going to round first and head for second, and the throw is offline. It's going to be a hustle double for Bobby Witt Jr. to lead off the top of the 7th inning. Still nobody out for Travis Swaggerty with a runner in scoring position, and he hits the ball at the same spot that Bobby Witt Jr. did, and Bobby Witt Jr. is going to come around to score, and the Royals are going to be back in front 6-5 after an RBI single by Travis Swaggerty. Here is Josh Hader trying to preserve the lead. He is entering the game with the bases loaded and 2 away in the bottom of the 8th, and he's going to get a strikeout looking with a slider to strand the bases loaded, and he's going to have to now try to get a 4-out save, but he gets the big out there to leave the bases loaded. The tying run at first base for Reynolds with 2 away, and he's going to strike out in a fastball away, and the Royals are going to win 6-5. Josh Hader able to get the 4-out save, and he actually struck out 4 of the 5 batters that he faced. He did a great job. Mark Leiter Jr. was pretty solid, but besides that, the pitching in this one, it was not the greatest. The lineup, on the other hand, they carried Salvador Perez 4 for 4 with 3 runs scored. Connor Joe with 3 RBIs on the game. Travis Swaggerty went 3 for 4. And yeah, the lineup just did a great job in this one. That's going to be all for the game action in today's episode. Let's check out our draft picks. Eric Snyder is a 75 overall with just B potential, but it is a high B at 89 potential. I like a lot of his ratings. He obviously needs to work on his contact, vision, and discipline, but I think he should be a very good player in the long run. Michael Hernandez is a 72 overall, also with B potential, but it is just 83 potential, so a low B potential. He's got a good arm, good stuff versus lefties, needs to work on the contact and power versus righties, but he is going to be starting his career out as a pretty high overall. Thomas Kurtz has the highest potential of anybody that we drafted, a 94 potential. He is just a 60 overall at 21 years old, but that's not terrible considering he was our 3rd pick in the draft. And he does have a couple of other concerns like his durability, and is he going to be able to strike enough guys out, or is he going to have to be really reliant on the defense? I guess we'll find out. Gene Folk, he is just a 56 overall. As B potential, it's a high B, 89 potential. And he's okay, I just don't know exactly if he's going to be able to develop because his overall isn't exactly the highest to start out. But maybe he develops, and it takes him a while, but maybe he does eventually make the big leagues. Romeo Petty, another low overall, just a 55 overall. He's got A potential. It is 91 potential. His durability rating, surprisingly, is a 94. Because if you remember, when we drafted him, he was injured, so I thought that would be pretty low. But he is fortunately not going to be very injury prone, at least it doesn't look like that. Ralph Lopez, a 51 overall, also with 91 potential. I thought his defense would be better. It's pretty bad, actually, for a right fielder. So maybe he ends up sliding over to left field, or maybe he ends up developing on defense. But I guess he's not a bad pick for a 5th rounder. And the last pick that we made was Pablo Rosado. He is only a 43 overall with B potential. It is 89 potential again. So high B potential. His durability rating is almost as low as his overall. That's pretty concerning. And I think we did an okay job in this draft getting Eric Snyder and Michael Hernandez and Thomas Kurtz. I thought those were all very good picks, but everybody after that, they have a long ways to go in order to make the big leagues. If you're wondering about closing pitcher Mario Soriano, somebody I really wanted to draft, apparently he just didn't declare. I looked around when we were setting up the draft board, and I did not see him available, and I did not see him get taken in the draft at all. So I'm going to assume that he is hopefully available next year in next year's draft. And Alec Franco, if you're wondering about him, he actually has higher potential than Eric Snyder. It is a 93. His overall, though, is a lot lower. It is just a 63. So let me know your thoughts down below on the draft and the trades that we made in today's episode. In our next episode, we're going to go ahead and get through the rest of the regular season and see how this team ends up doing. But yeah, thanks for watching this one, and I will see you in the next one.